You're lying in bed at 2 a.m., eyes wide open, and suddenly you're back in that meeting from 3 days ago. Word for word, you replay what you said, what they said, what you should have said. Your heart races a little, face flushes, stomach twists, like the conversation is happening all over again. Why do some minds refuse to let old talks die? What fires in the brain and body keep dragging us back into moments that are already over? Tonight, we're going deep into the psychology and physiology of people who can't stop replaying conversations in their head. It's not just overthinking, it's a nervous system stuck in replay mode, trying to solve a problem that no longer exists. Let's begin with what actually happens in the body when the loop starts. A memory of the conversation triggers the amygdala, your emotional smoke detector. Even though the moment is past, it flags it as an unresolved social threat. Cortisol trickles in, adrenaline follows, heart rate climbs. Your body reacts as if the person is standing right in front of you. The hippocampus, the brain's memory librarian, pulls the full recording, tone, facial expression, exact wording. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the rational planner, kicks into high gear trying to rewrite history. If I had said this instead, the loop feels productive because dopamine spikes slightly with each new, better version you imagine, but it never resolves. Why? Because the threat was social, and social safety can't be fixed retroactively. The body stays half-activated, muscles tense, breathing shallow, waiting for closure that never comes. First, meet the social safety scanners. These people have a hyper-vigilant social monitoring system. Their insula, the part that tracks internal body states and social cues, runs hotter than average. They pick up micro-expressions, subtle tone shifts, pauses that others miss. Once the conversation ends, their brain keeps scanning for danger it might have overlooked. Replaying is an attempt to confirm, was I accepted? Did I embarrass myself? Physiologically, this ties to lower baseline vagal tone, the brake pedal of the nervous system. Without strong parasympathetic calm, the body lingers in mild alert long after the interaction. Rumination becomes the mind's way of trying to restore safety through control. Relatable? You leave a casual chat feeling fine, then hours later your brain serves up every awkward silence on repeat. Then there are the rejection-sensitive rewriters. For them, every conversation carries high stakes. Past experiences of criticism, exclusion, or bullying tuned their anterior cingulate cortex, the conflict and error detector, to maximum sensitivity. Any hint of disapproval, real or imagined, registers as pain. Studies show social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain. Replaying the scene is an attempt to dull that ache by finding the mistake they made. Their dopamine system gets hooked on the fantasy fix. If I figure out what went wrong, next time I'll be safe. But the loop reinforces the sensitivity. Cortisol stays elevated, immune function dips, sleep fragments. The body pays for the mind's endless rehearsal. Don't overlook the anxious attachment seekers. Early relationships that were inconsistent, love sometimes given, sometimes withheld, wired their nervous system to equate connection with uncertainty. Conversations become evidence collection. Did they still like me at the end? Replaying is a search for reassurance that wasn't felt in the moment. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, flows weakly during real interactions because vulnerability feels risky. So the brain compensates later, obsessively analyzing for signs of closeness or abandonment. Physiologically, this creates a roller coaster. Brief serotonin lift when they imagine a better outcome, crash when reality reminds them it didn't happen. Over time, the gut-brain axis suffers. Stress alters microbiota, leading to bloating, IBS, fatigue that feeds more rumination. The perfectionist editors take it further. They don't just replay, they direct an entire alternate version. Their medial prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-reflection, is overactive and harshly critical. Any perceived flaw in their performance triggers shame. Replaying becomes script revision, sharper comeback, smoother transition, wittier remark. Each imagined improvement gives a tiny endorphin hit, like checking a box. But perfection is impossible in real dialogue, so the loop never ends. Physiologically, chronic self-criticism keeps the HPA axis humming, cortisol high, insulin sensitivity down, inflammation up. Sleep suffers most. The mind rehearses instead of winding down, leaving melatonin suppressed and morning exhaustion deep. There are also the trauma echo holders. For them, replay isn't always about the recent coffee chat. A present conversation brushes against an old wound, tones similar to a parent's anger, phrase echoing an ex's dismissal, and the body floods with old fear. The amygdala doesn't care about calendars, it matches patterns. Heart pounds, throat tightens, freeze response kicks in hours later through rumination. Replaying is the mind trying to integrate the past trigger into present safety, but without conscious processing, it just deepens the groove. Neuroplasticity works both ways. Repetition strengthens the fear pathway instead of weakening it. And the highly sensitive processors, whose brains simply take longer to file social data. They have richer connectivity between the default mode network, active during mind wandering, and emotional centers. After a conversation, their mind continues digesting layers others dismiss. Nuance, implication, subtext all get thorough review. This isn't pathology, it's depth. Physiologically, their acetylcholine pathways favor reflection over quick closure. Rumination feels natural, even valuable. But when it turns painful and repetitive, the same depth becomes a trap. Zoom out even more. Why does the brain allow endless replay at all? Evolutionarily, social missteps could mean exile from the tribe, death sentence. Analyzing past interactions for improvement made survival sense. Today, the stakes are rarely life and death, but the wiring remains. In a hyper-connected world of texts, DMs, and recorded calls, there's endless material to review. Social media amplifies it. Seeing others' polished moments makes our own unedited ones feel worse. But here's the hidden cost. Rumination doesn't solve social uncertainty, it deepens it. Prolonged cortisol erodes hippocampal cells needed for new learning. Immune markers rise, telomeres shorten, aging accelerates slightly. Sleep debt accumulates, worsening mood and memory. The body stays in chronic low-grade stress, waiting for a resolution the mind refuses to accept. Some moments simply can't be perfected after the fact. Yet there's hope in the same physiology. The brain craves completion. Gentle interruption works better than force. Labeling the thought, "This is rumination," activates the prefrontal cortex, reducing amygdala fire. Grounding in the body, cold water on wrists, deep exhales, strengthens vagal brake, dropping cortisol fast. Writing the conversation out, then deliberately closing the notebook gives the mind symbolic closure. Each small act builds new pathways. The loop starts, but fades sooner. Some reach breakthroughs through self-compassion, speaking to the replaying mind like a scared child. "That was hard and you did your best," releases oxytocin, softens shame. The body relaxes, heart rate slows, loop loses power. Over time, the nervous system learns imperfect conversations don't equal danger. So, which pattern lives in your late-night replays? The scanner searching for safety, the rewriter dodging rejection, the seeker hunting attachment, the editor chasing perfection, the holder echoing old trauma, or the processor savoring depth gone overboard? Name it in the comments if one lands close. You're not alone in the loop. In the end, the people who replay conversations most are often the ones who care most about connection, about impact, about getting it right. That sensitivity is strength when it serves you, burden when it doesn't. The same mind that torments with replays can become exquisite at presence, listening, repair. Your body replays to protect you. Now it can learn that some conversations end not with perfect words, but simply with continuation. You spoke, you listened, you survived. That's enough. Like if this described your 2 a.m. brain too well.
Subscribe for more unfiltered looks at the habits we carry quietly.